What's going on, fellas? It's kiodiekin. Welcome back to the channel. Still just getting a little set up and ready here for you guys, so just bear with me. Just want to get everything set up and ready, but thank you guys for joining at this time. So let me just go ahead and get this off my screen, and we will get right into it today. Just gonna get my mic ready. So I know a lot of you guys have been asking me questions about what is going on with Retropie, Sinden Lightgun, and pretty much everything else in between. So we will definitely dig into that in just a minute. Let's see here. All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. Thank you guys for watching and joining right now. I'm also streaming on Twitch, and so a couple of things I definitely wanted to address with you guys is the topics we're going to cover today. What's going on with the Nvidia RTX 3080s? What's going on with Retropie Supreme Ultra? The add-ons and everything. What's going on with my Venom image I promised you guys back in April. I know I have commented about that one in the past few weeks and just on and off. Also, what's going on with the Retropie light gun image that I'm currently making, and then light gun and how it will interface all together with Retropie. I think that's been one of the top questions I've seen in the forums lately. A lot of people have questions with light guns because they're set up a little differently, and you can expect the PC software to be a little different than what you're going to see on Linux. And then, of course, we're going to talk a little bit about Arcade1up, the beta testing program. I know John D, he posted about that a few days ago, so he is reaching out to the community to find out what they could do to better help the community and then also help them grow. So and also get some better quality assurance going on. I don't know if you guys watch P-Dubs, but P-Dubs did a video of the Super Pac-Man cabinet, and the fire button was on the on the left side and not the right side. And at first I thought maybe it was kind of okay a little bit, because originally a lot of arcade games they have fire buttons on both sides, and so maybe they just didn't program the right side. But apparently this cab was dedicated only to the right side fire cab on the side of the cab, so they are working on fixing that. My only concern about products like that, when they release it, people buy it, you're exhausting your warranty policy when you buy it, you test it, you report back or you post a video, but while they're working on their quality assurance and promising an upgrade, it's slowly exhausting your warranty return policy or your return policy to the store in case you just don't like it, even after they patch it. So hopefully they address that as part of the beta program. If time is allowing, I did reach out to volunteer my time and services if I am able to help do that. So I did reach out to John D to help out in that area. I believe that my knowledge about certain things will definitely help out, because it'll make things better for customers. So we'll actually see what goes on, there. So we'll go ahead and get this topic out of the way, because I know most of you guys are here about Retropie and some other stuff. So apparently a lot of people, what they were doing with the Nvidia cards were they were building computers online and then put the video card in the computer they want to build and buying it that way. And this goes for the other third-party websites out there like CyberPower. I don't think Newegg does it, but some of the other websites out there like CyberPower and maybe Digital Storm, people were buying the cards with their pre-made unit, already have their unit built, and then go ahead and then check out there that way. But I was watching Gamers Nexus. He did a really good video explaining the situation about what's going on with Nvidia, but I guess A lot of people were just buying the units. I mean, some stores or online places had 900 and they were gone in seconds. And even he was subject to what I experienced the other day as far as Newegg, the website crashing, and then you go to refresh, there's nothing there, and then all of a sudden there's inventory. So that came, so that's really what's going on. Hey, Ali Pyro, thanks for checking in, man. Tommy, what's going on? Thank you guys for tuning in. I will hopefully this week get around to editing and posting some firework footage because I have not posted any of my 4th of July extravaganza stuff. So I will be having that coming up pretty soon. All right, so what is going on with Retropie Supreme Ultra? What's the holdup? Are there new add-ons? Kale, you told us about your Venom image that was coming out back in April. So what's going on with that is back in April, obviously there was an update to Retropie. And then, of course, the Pi 4 8GB model came out. And so obviously, I was like, oh, crap. Well, let's hold off. Let's test that. Because one of the things that I personally do is I don't believe in dumping out an image every time something comes up. Some people do that. Some people put out an image 2 or 3 times a month, and some people put out an image every week. I don't do that. So what happens is I get wind of updates that are coming out. And so when I get wind of these updates, I said, okay, well, maybe I could wait another week or 2. And so then that happens. And then by that time, something else happens. So with my particular image, we had Supreme Pro. It was supposed to be launched on that. And then eventually the Pi 4 8GB model came out. And then Retropie updated, not Retropie, but Raspberry Pi updated to, I believe it was, they added the SSD configuration where you can boot from an SSD. So that update came out. And then there are several other updates. Now, just to let you guys know, there were some other updates since I've done my initial video on Supreme Ultra that hasn't been discussed yet because obviously there's only a few people who have it. There were some fixes to the marquee and updates to it, which is really great. So originally with the marquee, you could only add in pictures while you're scrolling through your games on the Retropie device with the marquee. There were originally some other updates. So I could tell you any image that's coming out right now that you guys seen or hear about that is still only using pictures. It's a definitely obsolete script with Retropie. So now the new update with Supreme Ultra 1.5, even though there hasn't been a 1.2, 1.3 or anything, the new Supreme Ultra, Dr. Lightgun, we are talking about retro gaming and Retropie for Supreme Ultra, which is a new Retropie device. You've probably seen it on my channel with retro video gaming. So with this and a new marquee script, you can now play videos while you're scrolling through emulation stations. So before you could only play or show pictures, and then you would show PNG files while you're actually playing the game. So now you have 2 intro screens. You have an intro for your regular splash screen. I believe with that before it was originally what was it? I think it was like a minute and 30, maybe a minute, no, it's 45 seconds. Now you could play almost a 2-minute video for an intro. I mean, I highly don't recommend that, but it is something you can do. And then now you could also play a video available with Retropie. That being said, the next update, if you guys have any questions about that, because I know some of you guys have been asking questions about Retropie and what's been going on. So now this is your time if you guys have had other questions about it. Honestly, it's almost done. I'm just really adding on media, but as far as me adding on ROMs and everything like that, all that is pretty much done. Retropie Lightgun image, Sinden Lightgun update and how it interface with the Pi 4. So I did reach out to Andy. We did talk offline after my last video with the Supreme team that was last week. So they agreed. They said that they were sending me a unit. And so just to let you guys know, I will be helping them, not so much officially, but giving my expertise as to how it could be integrated better or working with the Retropie for the Pi 4. Now, I did comment about this in a previous video. It was actually my first light gun image that I made last year, that I definitely believe or recommend that you have a separate image for light gun games only. So currently the name of my light gun image is called the Pistolero Light Pi 4 light gun image. And I think I'm about 126, maybe 127 games right now for the light gun. So that's where we are there. I still have questions about it because the PC interface obviously works a little differently than it will using it on a Pi. The Pi 4 is really tricky, and a lot of people think that, yeah, if it's going to work on PC, it's going to work on Pi, and it doesn't work that way. The Pi is really tricky because just like the Pi 4 works on the Pi 4 4GB model, there's not a promise to you that it will work even on the Pi 4 for 8GB model. Even I'm just talking about as far as Retropie, because a lot of people thought Retropie would work automatically if it's working on the 4 gig, it'll work on the 8 gig, so it's not forwards or backwards compatible, however you want to list that. Yeah, Supreme Ultra is backwards compatible with, or forwards, however you want to phrase it. It will work with Pi 4 8GB and 4GB models, so there's no problem there. So there will be extensive testing when I do get the light gun. I will test some things out for you guys and give you guys a really good video to kind of showcase everything. Now, my best guesses are the software that they have for this gun will have to integrate with the emulators, because a lot of stuff with Pi is all manually. It's not pre-programmed where you just download something and it's like Windows where it kind of does everything for you. So we will be doing some extensive testing there, or at least I will be. And so I just want to make sure I'm able to help you guys out. And so the reason why I prefer having a Retropie light gun image is because there are certain settings for certain games. You guys may not have seen it because a lot of reviewers post Aliens, Terminator, and a few other simple games that really doesn't have a lot of intricate settings for the light gun. But there are other light gun games where if you start messing around with the settings, and because it's all MAME or MAME 2016 using RetroArch or Advanced MAME 1.4, which is actually broken now, it doesn't work anymore on the Pi 4. There is a possibility those settings will interrupt your trackball settings or your other controls. I did experience that with my first light gun setup. It was kind of tricky because if I messed up one little thing, I would have probably had to redo all of my controls and redo the image. BTJ Gaming, did the Chronos Zen work PC, mouse, and keyboard? Yeah, it does. Unfortunately, I haven't had a chance to get around to uploading some additional videos, but yeah, the Chronos Zen does work for PC, mouse, and keyboard. In fact, I was trying to get a good steering wheel to demonstrate it for you, but you guys know with the Chronos Zen, you can use a mouse and keyboard and your controllers all at the same time, right? Or you could go from a controller to a steering wheel setup all in one shot. So that's one of the benefits of having the Chronos Zen, because you have 3 USB inputs, so you can definitely do that. Yeah, John. So yeah, it definitely runs in the background with Windows on a PC setting, but on Retropie, I don't know. I don't know how it will affect the image. I don't know how it will affect the build. Remember, a lot of the builds that you guys see me working with is all custom. So that's not, obviously you take something like the official base and then you add some other things to it. And so adding any one or little two things to Retropie could break it. I mean, it could be a period, it could be a comma and a line of code. It could be a video script. It could be something small. So when you're testing these things, you have to add something and then test it all over again as though it was never there. So there's no quote unquote guaranteed stuff to work unless devs who are working on a particular build or image make sure that it's actually working. Right. Okay. So that's pretty much how the settings or things would typically work for a Retropie image. Last but not least, just here on this quick list Arcade1up beta testers Q&A. Honestly, it's about time that they have requested the help of the community. You guys don't know who John D is. He is one of the representatives. I believe he's currently the PR person for Arcade1up. He made an official announcement. He just asked the community, hey, if you have any experience beta testing, writing bug sequences or code, or just if you're a good gamer and you know how to play a good game, you're familiar with things, hit them up. So they are looking for beta testers. There are some incentives behind it. So obviously you'll get early release to games, and then of course you'll get some swag, which will probably be like a t-shirt or a mug or something. So me personally, yeah, I give a lot of companies crap about what it is that they are releasing and call things out. I just believe in being honest, but you know, at the same time, I believe in trying to do my due diligence to help companies out and pointing out things. And personally, I think it's a disservice to the community when YouTubers or reviewers are putting things out there, taking pictures, showing photographs of something working perfectly, and things really aren't working well because you're going to go out, spend $400 or $500 on an item thinking you're getting a polished thing, and there's still testing or beta testing that still needs to be done. So one of the things I think that would definitely help companies like Arcade1up, IR Arcade, or anybody else out there in general is to probably do a product review on their own channel first. Say, hey, this is what's working. This is what, you know, what you should expect from the item, and not so much rely on people to go out, buy it, and then post a review about it, and then they have concerns about it. And then typically what'll happen is the community looks at that YouTuber or reviewer and say, oh, they're either hating on a product or they just don't like it. And that's not always the case. I mean, you're spending your hard-earned money to get something that you believe that is actually going to work, but yet it's not fully working. You're actually paying $500 to be a beta tester. So I think that's really a dead practice when a lot of times, even myself, you're buying something to have it working just right out of the box. I mean, the PlayStation 5 is coming out. We have the new RTX Nvidia cards coming out, and we have the Xbox coming out as well. So you guys aren't looking to pay $600 to $700 for something to beta test it. I mean, you want something to work, right? So yeah. BTJ, any video about how to connect Chronos Zen on the PC with mouse and keyboard, or your Discord link? I'm really not on Discord. I'm only on there because of Chronos Zen and a couple other programs. But I spend very little time on beta on the Discord for that. I'm pretty much only on there to get some updated information because of certain beta programs. Is there a way to side load the app separate, kind of like an add-on from Retropie? That way it doesn't interfere with the Retropie at all. Yeah, that would be possible if it was Bluetooth, but this device is not Bluetooth, John S. So if the device was Bluetooth, then it would somewhat work like I'm not sure if AimTrack uses. I don't know. AimTrack doesn't use Bluetooth, but if it was like the Mayflash Dolphin Board or Bluetooth, or just totally a USB configuration with no additional things needed, then that would be possible. But based upon my information, obviously I don't have it. I'm just giving you guys my thoughts and brainstorming right now on the Sinden Lightgun. So it has that border. So that border has to be loaded somewhere on the emulator. With Windows, you can have it running in the background, and then it's obviously optimized and working with the interface itself. But with Retropie, it has to load with the emulator. So with that, I mean, yeah, you're gonna have some additional settings there that you're gonna have to tweak. Probably, I'm guessing, probably kind of like how you're currently setting up your Dolphin Bar or something else. I mean, I know that's a little different, but it'll have to work specifically with the emulator. Now, the emulator that I'm hoping that it works with Retropie is Retropie, the main 2016, because most of the games work for that emulator. I have tried Advanced Main 1.4. That's broken now with Pi 4, but with I think other people use MAME 2003 and MAME 2010 for the light guns, and I don't know why, because there are certain games limited to what you can actually do as far as even reloading the game or trying to reload the gun. So that really creates a problem if you're tailoring people to use your light gun for a particular emulator, but then they use one of the other arcade games out of the 60 arcade games that can probably benefit a little bit better from MAME 2016. So that's what's going on in that area. Yeah, Robert. So what you could do, I know somebody mentioned this for the PlayStation 5. If you guys see the PlayStation 5 bundle, you guys can add it to your cart, and then the items you don't want, you could delete them, and then just get the console, and you should be fine with that as well. So somebody did mention that. I'm all new to this. Is there a way I can get Time Crisis, House of the Dead, and the Dolphin sensor to work with the Wii controller? Thank you, PC or Raspberry Pi. PC, yeah, all that stuff works with PC. Raspberry Pi, I have it working. The only thing with House of the Dead, I don't have the sound working for that ROM. It's interesting because the sound before the game works, but the sound during the game, it doesn't work. So I've tried different sound files. I think even if you try a different emulator, there's still an issue with that. So, but yeah, the Mayflash Dolphin Bar, all this works for coin ops. If you are trying to play Time Crisis, House of the Dead, with any of those games, I've demonstrated all those games here on the channel. But those are really some of the simple games. And that was one of the other updates for Supreme Ultra. There was an additional shader that runs the games a little smoother. So a lot of the games for Sega Saturn, I think I've demonstrated maybe a couple of them here on this channel. They are running a little bit smoother. So that's something else you guys can expect with Supreme Ultra, Pistolero, which is going to be based off of Supreme Ultra, and then Venom. So I'm just working on adding on some additional media files for Venom, and that way you guys will be all good to go with that. Just trying to make sure everything is nice and perfect. So the only thing that's really holding up everything right now on my end, and I've talked to some other guys about this, is that typically when we get ready to release something and work on it, there's another update or something else is coming out a little bit better. And so usually you're put in a situation of, well, do I release this now or do I release it another week or two when I could probably optimize this a little bit better and maybe add on those additional features. I do believe, from my understanding, there's a fix coming in the next month and a half or so that fixes a lot of the screen tearing issues on Retropie. So that's one of the big holdups is, do you release it when you want to, or do you release it when there's some additional updates that you know are coming out to kind of fix a lot of things so people are getting the best possible experience? Or are you put in a scenario like everybody else where they're just, releasing images every week? So I hope that answers your in-depth question. There's also been some other questions about will the Chronos Zen, for those of you guys new to my channel and haven't followed some of my other products that I follow, the Chronos Zen is probably the best controller, or actually the best controller adapter out there on the market. And so it allows you to use whatever controller you want on any console primarily. And so the question people have asked is, will the Chronos Zen work on the PlayStation 5? Will the Chronos Zen work on the Xbox One X or Series X? The devs have said yes in due time. It's USB interface. All it does is take a firmware update. So those units have been sold out for many weeks and many months. Well, actually, they've been backlogged. I'm sorry, wrong terminology. They've been backlogged, and so they are catching up with that. Scalpers are selling them for $250 all the way up to $400 in some countries. I believe GameStop, I did a video on it. GameStop will be carrying those eventually. I just don't know when GameStop will be carrying those units for $79.99. So they have not raised the price on any one of those. For those of you guys interested in arcade modding, I'm telling you, the Chronos Zen is the best device to use out of the Chronos Max, the Titan, the Brooks board, the Zen Apex. I prefer the Chronos Zen because of all the things that all the updates, the three USB imports, the Bluetooth capability. If you guys are even using one of these for an arcade mod or using this for your Retropie and you're trying to hook up a Bluetooth controller, it literally only takes you 3 seconds, literally 3 seconds to hook up your Bluetooth device to your Chronos Zen if you guys are planning on using one of those. So that's pretty much all I have for that. So if you guys have any questions, please let me know right now. I know one of the other things I definitely wanted to do on this channel today is I wanted to go ahead and live stream and give you guys my reaction to the Nvidia RTX 3080. I missed out on the launch of that a couple of weeks ago. I'm going to try to make it my best intentions to do a little bit more live streaming events. I really love those. I know I don't cover a lot of gaming related stuff with as far as PlayStation, Nintendo Switch, Xbox. I got like 8 Xboxes, all right? So I play a lot of games. Just don't spend a lot of time covering it. I am going to because it is one of my favorite interests. I mean, that's how a lot of us got started. It was starting off with consoles, but I definitely want to start giving my input from a technical perspective about a lot of the consoles as far as PC building, PC modding. I have some videos I still need to upload that, but you know, so I definitely want to give you guys my input of that and help you guys make your lives easier for your hobbies. You know, one of the interesting things is, unfortunately, YouTube doesn't allow or give a category for hobby channels. But what's funny is if you go into Pacific Coast Hobbies or Marty's Hobbies, they have all the same stuff there. They even started adapting with toys and Legos and other things, especially since Toys R Us went out of business. Hobbies kind of covers everything, you know, as far as your PC electronics, your trains, your RC cars, your drones. So that's what my channel is tailored to. I had to separate my fireworks channel because I noticed that I had a lot of people either joining or leaving and stuff like that. But primarily the one reason why I separated my firework channel is I do believe now that I have more than enough content for it to really sustain itself. So if you guys can help me get to at least 1,000 subscribers on kiodiekin, which is my affiliate fireworks channel, that would be golden. But I am going to start posting a lot more stuff on specifically for that channel because the things I know I can cover and maybe talk about, I can really get into detail about it there. So hopefully I do expect that to grow here within the next very future. Does the Zen make controllers look like a specific controller? No. Well, from a driver perspective, for playability, or do you mean? Well, obviously not physically. So, yeah, it does. So let's say if I'm using my PlayStation controller and using the Zen and I have it plugged into my Xbox 360, it'll make it look like it's an Xbox 360 controller. And then you go and associate the software and you configure what buttons you want to use. So even if you're using the Chronos Zen to mod it with your arcade cabinet, you have your 6, I recommend 8 buttons there. And you can plug it in however you want. You use your USB controller. And then you map out the buttons however you want to. Now, with other devices like the Brooks device and some of the other ones, you have to wire the unit specifically to where you want it on the board. With the Chronos Zen, Chronos Max, and even the Titan 2, you can map out however you want to using the software. And that's a one-time thing. So once you've done that, that's all you have to do. So I know some people say, hey, you don't have to use a software. You know, they prefer the Brooks device because you don't have to use a PC, but that's only a one-time thing. And honestly, I'd rather have that ability to be able to go in, customize it. You can set your motion sensor rates. There's a whole lot of stuff you could do with the Chronos Zen and even the Chronos Max that you cannot do with the Brooks device. I mean, that's just a straight button configuration. That's why all of my controls work on my Nintendo Switch when I did my arcade mod. So I went in there and mapped out everything perfectly. The joystick and everything works for games such as the Pokken tournament and then also the Super Mario game. What was it? Smash Brothers. Everything works perfectly fine. Everything's mapped out. That was a video I shot back in, what was it, January, February this year? I'll get around to it, so So, John, I hope that answers your question as far as how the Zen works. Okay. All right. So I'm just going to sit here and see if there's any questions really quickly. So John is asking, so every time you change to a different console, you need to run the software and tell it to run it for a specific system before using it. No, you shouldn't have to. As far as a best practice for myself, I would always do that just to make sure. But no, you won't have to. The Zen automatically recognizes what console you're using. So, but I make that a practice to make sure it's working. I know with the Chronos Max, I used to have to go in and make sure it was working, or for place. I can't remember if it was Xbox 360 or PlayStation 3. I had to go in and set it manually for what system to recognize. But for the most part, no, it doesn't. It recognizes it automatically. I would just make that a common practice on your own due diligence to make sure that it is set up specifically for that console that you are using. And then, of course, you have to go in and configure all your buttons to work for it anyway, too. So if you're like me, if you're really serious about your online gaming experience, and you don't want to have to worry about something while you're in the middle of a match, especially a fighting game, which will really make anybody upset. If your controls are right, that's just a common practice to do, is make sure your buttons are right before you start any type of competition, esports gaming or any type of online gaming scenario. All right, let me just pull up something here really quickly. And let's go to check. And also, too, I just bought the new WWE game. So that one's, I'll probably maybe do a little brief demonstration on that one a little bit later. But yeah, this is a great time to be a gamer. With new video cards coming out for RTX, the Nvidia RTX 3080, which is priced at the same amount as the RTX 2000 series. I have a few of those. I am in the process. I'll probably end up still selling my RTX 2060 Super. You can expect the prices on other PC parts to go down in price. And as far as video cards, man, I still see the RTX 40 was the 2060 still priced at about 450, 460. Those should be dropping way down. And so reason why that's very important is I've seen people in the arcade community, as far as modding, who aren't familiar with PC technology. And when they're releasing things like this, it's automatically dropping the price of other hardware that's out there. So you figure hardware you could have got maybe 4 or 5 years ago, those are going to be substantially lower, especially on Craigslist, eBay, and other things like that. I had talked to somebody on one of the pinball forums some time ago, and I guess a guy didn't think I knew what I was talking about, but you could get two Nvidia, I think it was 780s at the time, 760s, 780s, 790s, which are, you can run those in SLI. Each one of those cards used to cost about $400 back in 2013 or so. You could get one of those cards now for about $39, $49, run those in SLI, and those will still outperform a 1080 Ti or still be on par with a 1080 Ti. So you have something like that with technology coming out with the new RTX series 3080s. Obviously, I don't expect those cards to probably drop down in price any further, but you figure all your other cards that were a little bit lower than the RTX 2000 series, it's definitely a good time to think about maybe getting some PC parts or getting some video cards at a discounted price, especially OfferUp, Let Go, eBay. If you guys are looking to do a pinball build or even just a arcade mod. So PC parts are definitely going down now, guys, and that's really good when they come out with new technology. But that's one of the things I really wanted to also hone in on as far as helping you guys out, because I've noticed there are a lot of people who may not be familiar with PC building, modding experience, and then they want to go build an arcade unit, and people are spending several $100s when they could have spent $40 to get the same effect, the same quality product. If you can get one of those old Nvidia RTX, not RTX, but GeForce 760, 780s. I still got a couple of them. Run those in SLI. Those are still on par again with the 1080 Ti as far as the power output. Now, it won't have as much memory, but as far as power, I use them for video editing. I'm telling you, with Adobe After Effects and Adobe Premiere, and they're flawless. So definitely a good time to be a gamer, and also interested in building a PC. What's the cheapest mini PC I can use if I want Time Crisis, House of the Dead to run on a Dolphin bar? I think that's the question. Ooh, that's a good question. I'm thinking probably, I think a good price range with a decent power supply, I would go with a couple of hundred. Not factoring in the mouse or anything. I think a decent PC with about a good 500 watt power supply, just the PC. I mean, it honestly doesn't take too much. I mean, you could use a PC that was built back in 2007 or so, as long as you have a decent operating system. I wouldn't go with one of the older Windows operating systems that weren't really optimized too well. But yeah, you could use something that was made in 2010, 2007 and get everything that you really need. So the only thing that hurts the economy right now as far as PC modding is, I don't know if you guys are familiar with it, but I usually see open box deals at Best Buy. And back in 2013, I saw a lot of good computers that had a lot of good specs, open box for like $200 or $300. Okay, well, whatever happened to all those open box units, or maybe the models of that same type around that same time frame? You typically can't find those. So, but you can figure those prices would have dropped down drastically since you have new tech coming out. So that was back in 2013. So when you ask me, what is the cheapest mini PC you can build or buy and have Time Crisis or House of the Dead run, I started going back to 2013, for example, and you can go get a laptop for about $200 or $300. So typically now that would probably, I mean, if you could find them, what, $50? I mean, I know it sounds a little absurd, but you figure 7 years later, new technology is coming out, dropping down the price of the cheaper technology. So yeah, I mean, in any given scenario, you should be able to find something that can run whatever you need it to do for about a good $50. I mean, maybe a pawn shop, but nobody's really going to sell something that low because it's still a computer and it can still do computations and everything for you. All right, fellas, I think that probably wraps it up for this session. If you guys want to stick around for the next few minutes, I am going to live stream the Nvidia event. And so if you guys want to stick around with me and, just see what's going on and just get my thoughts, my live reaction on it. I was going to do it here, but I figured I'd probably just keep it separate so you guys can see what's going on. But thank you guys for hanging out. Unless there's any other questions right now about what's going on with the, let's see here. Yeah, i3 is more than powerful enough to run House of the Dead or any of those other games. Yeah, as long as i3 with a decent video card, you're safe, man. And remember now, most of the i3s now are probably as good as the i5s were probably about 6 years ago. Yeah, off the top of my head, I can't remember many of the specs for the i3 that came out back in 2013 or so. But yeah, if you're cool with an i3, man, that's definitely help. Yeah, anytime, man. I definitely love putting in the work, answering tech questions and helping people who aren't familiar with the arcade to PC modding ratio. Definitely here to help you guys out with that. All right, fellas, I'm going to switch over here. Give me about 5 minutes or so, and I'm going to start the live stream so you guys can see my reactions if I have any concerns or just talks about the Nvidia. So I'm going to stop this stream and then log back on here in a couple of minutes. So hope to you guys that thank you for subscribing to the channel. Consider subscribing and sharing this video if you guys have any questions. So, oh, just in final. So, when I do get the Sinden Lightgun, I will let you guys know. I do have a question and answer series. I know you guys want to see the product live in action. I will host that and answer any questions you guys have. So, aside from doing a review on it, again, my goal is to help Andy, the developer, make the device better for the Pi series. I won't spend too much time on the PC because, yeah, I mean, really, PC is really easy to set up. So that is my sole goal here, and the intention is to help you guys understand how to make your work better. All right, guys, I will catch you later. You guys have a good day. See you back in a few minutes, and I will get set up for my NVIDIA stream just to let you guys know, just to give you guys my thoughts on that. Peace.